Hello, everybody. Welcome to this show that is a show that we still apparently do. I am here with Neo.
Hello, that's me.
That is him. Rick.
Hey, hey.
That is him. And me. Also me. So we're talking about One Piece against my will today because that's
Very
where
much
we've
against
hit.
your will.
No,
It's been how
do not
long
make
since our last episode?
do not make any sudden movements. Just keep talking. Just keep talking about One Piece. We're gonna get it out of you, boy.
Keep talking or Mavis gets it.
Yeah.
So we said we were gonna go
And I
to,
don't-
to 40
I don't mean like
chapters.
physical harm. I mean, I'm gonna make her read One Piece as well.
Yeah,
That might be
you're gonna
worse.
Make your dogs read One Piece.
So we said we were gonna do like 40 chapters, and then I was like, we have to go to Arlong so that I can have nice things to say. So we're gonna go all the way to Arlong, I think, and
I'm
maybe
okay with
just
that.
skip over a lot of the earlier boring shit. Maybe just like tangentially say
I
that
feel
it
like
exists.
we should at least give Neo a chance to defend the early boring shit.
Neo can
There's,
talk
like-
about the fucking
I
who's
will
that
I will
Pokemon
take
section
out
as
the
much as he
flagpole
wants.
for Syrup Village, dog. Catch me out here defending Syrup Village like
Is
24.
that the Usopp one?
Yes.
Okay, Syrup Village is okay. I don't have
We
a
gotta
huge
start
issue
from
with
the
Syrup
very
Village.
beginning.
I agree, we do.
Let's get into it, because
So this starts off with giving children the idea to stab themselves in the face, which is a great idea.
yes, we start off with some great character building about Luffy wanting to prove that he is a tough pirate. Perfect.
And he is a
Can't-
5-year-old, so he stabs himself in the face.
It's amazing. It's such character writing. Just Italian kisses all over. Just perfect. Amazing.
Here's the thing. Before I had kids, I thought that would be like
Ridiculous that you like not notice that he's got a knife and is about to stab himself in the face. But as a father, I kind of get it. Like they will do random dumb shit for no reason out of nowhere.
Wait, does
So,
he
like,
even have parents? Does Luffy have parents?
Yes.
He does.
He's not an orphan.
He has a dad,
He's
as
not-
far as we know.
We don't know about his mom, like whether she's alive or dead, but he confirmed has a dad. He is alive. We know who he is. But
Okay.
he's also got guardians that are watching over him.
He
at
just
this
he
time,
just
or at least
screamed
should
orphan
be.
to me very early on.
I can definitely see it. Like, I
It's
think
because he's a
up until-
shonen protagonist. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's because
too.
he's a
Yeah.
2000s era shonen protagonist.
Yeah, parents and all. Who fucking needs them? Shit, man.
Not Sasuke,
I'll do
that
it
too.
myself. Yeah.
Apparently, Sasuke really needed them. That's the moral of his story.
That's next
Right.
episode, though, I think, right?
That is next episode. With all- Now it's
I wanna
fucking
see an
out there.
Universe of Naruto where Sasuke has got parents and he's just super happy-go-lucky all the time.
I think they
He's
actually
just a
did that.
normal
I think they
guy.
made a movie about that.
Oh my god.
I'm
Anyway.
like 90% sure there's an alt universe movie where the massacre doesn't ever happen. And Sasuke's
Really?
like a
Huh.
like a shitty ladies man. He like sucks.
Isn't that like the whole
Well,
point of the series? Anyway.
So wait, what's the difference? Because he's already kind of a shitty ladies man.
But
If
he
all
like
that
he like
dudes
he likes
existed,
it. Is like that's his thing. Is he's like a
I'm not
lazy
gonna
ladies
tolerate
man.
all this
Oh,
slander of the
gotcha.
goat.
Okay, we are not talking about Naruto today. We're talking about One Piece. Damn it. I
So
actually think
who
this
who
opening
wants to
chapter is
do
pretty
the?
fun.
What is One Piece about? Or do we even
it is
have
about-
to?
It's the
William.
most popular manga in the fucking world. Do we even have to say what it's about? Everybody knows what it's about.
It's about a guy who wants to be the best guy.
Stretchy boy
someone
wants
just
to
roll
be
the
the
opening from
best
the poor
pirate, but
kids.
he also can't swim.
Yes. There. Done.
Just roll the 4 kids opening. That'll tell you everything you need to know.
Sure.
There's a man
Ah,
named Goldie
totally.
Roger. He said,
Okay, we'll
"I
talk
left
about
all
this
of
later,
my-
but I have
my
a good
stuff
idea.
in one place or in one piece or some shit that was like that is very confusing and doesn't make a lot of sense. But everyone was like, fuck yeah, let's go get us some fucking pirate treasure. And
Fuck it, we pirates now.
exactly. And Luffy's like, yeah, I'm gonna do the best and be the best pirate ever. It'll be awesome.
All right, so now we've set the stage.
Then I'm curious, how do you rate this as a shonen protagonist backstory?
Are you referring
first
to the I have a dream and nobody thinks I can do it, and then my mentor figure gets injured because of me, and now I'm good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I rank it 8.5 Naruto's out of 10.
Well, that's not bad.
That's not
That's
bad at
pretty
all.
good.
I like this opening chapter, to be honest. Like I enjoy seeing like Shanks make fun of Luffy and like basically call him a little shit all the time, and then turn out to care about him. Like that works
I
for me.
liked it until I found out that there was absolutely no reason Shanks should have lost his arm, and then I was like, well, okay.
And it like Luffy being in that situation is entirely Shanks's fault because he doesn't like give Luffy any respect or anything and doesn't like notice him as like a worthy human being until he's literally about to die.
I don't know about that. Like that does go a bit far, I think.
He does drive Luffy to like try to fight the bandits and everything like that by like talking down on him like he's not a real pirate and all that shit. Now
I could kind of see that interpretation of it.
Luffy's ideas about like we have to beat people up who mess with us and stuff like that. That's all him. Like that's not really Shanks.
Yeah, I
And
like
that's like
that
kind of
part
the
where
key
Shanks
thing of
just
a
laughs
different
off,
film.
this guy beating the shit out of him more or less. Or I guess that's a different thing, but like, spitting on him and all that. Like
Yeah.
that's funny to me. I think that's cool that Shanks is like, nah, I'm not gonna bother with this loser.
Especially because he's like super strong, or at this
Yeah.
point he's probably somewhat pretty strong.
Yeah, this is long before he became a Yonko, but like yeah, he still probably should be able to just wreck this dude. I do think it is super weird that Shanks gives up his arm in this situation, and I've seen a lot of big One Piece fans really try to bend over backwards to be like, no, he did it on purpose, and there's a reason for it. And I think honestly, it's just it doesn't make much sense, and Oda did it at a time when he was not as good of a writer as he would become, and it just doesn't really fit.
Well,
But I mean, it makes for a
works.
super cool mentor, so I'm kind of down with it.
I think it works if Shanks is not a literal admiral killing super threat to the world like he is propped up to be later on
And
in
I
the
don't think
series.
he is at
If
this
he's
point.
just a pirate, like, but if he can stare at a sea king and make it swim away, like in that scene, I don't know, dude. Like, why did he need to get his arm bit off before he busted out the stare of death or whatever?
I mean, like, since later we find out this is a thing that's in the universe, I can retroactively go back and say, okay, maybe he had that Conqueror's Haki to do that, but he didn't have full control over it at that stage in life. And so it was sort of yeah, he was more or less a normal pirate, but he had the ambition to unlock that.
Yeah, I've heard people say
moment.
he did it accidentally, kind of like, Luffy does at times.
That's sort of what I'm talking about, like a similar thing to that. If it was clearly that, I'd be totally 100% on board. But I think it's just sort of a weird situation.
Yeah, it's just one of those things is like, okay. Well, I'll buy it because it works for Luffy, so I just kind of have to swallow it and just like accept it and move on because I don't think Luffy is as interesting in the beginning without that
scene. No, he's definitely not.
In fact, without that scene, I don't find him particularly interesting at all, to be honest.
I really like Luffy towards like the around when you get to like Skypiea and those stuff, when you start to see a little more depth in his character. I like him a lot, but I think that early on he is sort of just protagonist boy, and it doesn't help things.
Yeah, for sure.
But
what do you think of the Alvida ship, Zen? What do you feel about that whole
I feel like he's gonna shit all over this.
I want to hear it. We need it. I don't, because it's just gonna be you and me jerking about One Piece. Otherwise, like...
Yeah, pretty much. So is this with Kobe up through Zoro? Is that what we're talking about now?
Yeah, let's go there.
More or less, yeah.
God, okay, that shit sucked, except for Zoro. It was just a fucking drag. So Luffy sucks a lot. Is like the moral of these beginning chapters. And so the whole thing is basically just like, shit's happening, but look at how Luffy is totally unfazed by it, because he's kind of fucking idiot, but then also he's really strong, so it's okay to just be a fucking idiot. It's sort of like Gon, but they don't try to make it deep. Because Gon does the same shit, but then the characters try to be like, oh my god, he's pure and unique, and it's like, shut the fuck up. Luffy's exactly the same way, it's just nobody jacks off about it. So it's better, but it's still not good.
I think the thing that makes Luffy work for me, and it is not as apparent, I think, in these early parts as it is in later parts, but the thing that makes him really cool is that Luffy he's simple, but he's also surprisingly insightful at times. Like he will pull out, a moment where he'll realize a situation and exactly what it needs in that moment and do it. And like the moment that's coming to mind here, and it's not a great example, but it sort of gets to what I'm talking about, is when the Marines are talking about, oh, this kid, I think he was on that Alvidia's ship, wasn't it? And Luffy starts a fight with Kobe to get him, one, to like show that he's earned some grit and will throw a fight and get into a fight to protect his beliefs
with a
and
powerful
also
pirate. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, exactly, and also like show that he is definitely not on board with pirates. And I like that Luffy is capable of doing those things in certain moments, and they don't come across as out of character. They fit with Luffy's simple but understanding of the world.
Also, I really like when they're in the restaurant when Helmeppo is like talking shit about killing Zoro, and like he pops off and like starts beating Helmeppo's ass, like yelling at him about breaking the promise or whatever. Like it's stuff like that like isn't necessarily like it, like going back it's probably a lot better. So I have to like address that probably a lot. Like going back and rereading all of this stuff is probably way more enhanced by like my already pre-existing love.
I think that is probably true.
I think my favorite part of this portion was when the fat pirate lady is talking shit and Luffy completely doesn't pay any attention, and then he goes, "Who's this fat bitch?" And that's like his whole. That's all he does. I think that might be my favorite thing that he did up until like Arlong, maybe.
I really do like that. That is great. But to get to the other thing, the thing that I really like about this section, and it's Zoro. Zoro is freaking awesome.
God, he's so cool.
Oh yeah, Zoro's the best character in anything that I've gotten to, at the very least. By like not a small margin.
I would almost agree. Zoro is really high up there for me. Specifically, the thing that I really like in this one, though, is not anything super badass that he does, but that moment where like Luffy or the little girl has like made some really shitty rice balls and done it completely wrong, and then Helmeppo like stomped them into the dirt. Then even after all that, Zoro's like, "Hey, can you get me those rice balls, please?" Just something about the way that goes down is really funny to me, because on the one hand, I'm aware that he's probably just really hungry and wants like for that, but I also just like the almost meek way that he seems to be saying like, so no one else is gonna eat those, right?
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, like I don't know if they do this in the manga, but in the anime, like Luffy's like, "Hey, dude, are you sure you want to eat these? It's mostly mud." And Zoro's like, "Dude, just give them to me." Like he's like, "Just fucking put them in my mouth, like whatever."
When Luffy is saying, "Hey, man, maybe that should tell you maybe you don't want to eat this shit."
It's like, he's like, "I don't know, dog." Zoro's just like, "Just load them up, just put them in."
But yeah, Zoro is super cool for stuff like that. Like the stuff that always makes me love One Piece characters is the stuff that like seems to come out of nowhere, but then still kind of fits within their character. The stuff that kind of gives you another side of who they are. Right. I really like that.
Yeah, Zoro's good. It frustrates me as we go through these chapters because it feels like they don't give him enough to do early. Like the whole Nami shit kind of sucks. The Nami shit retroactively becomes good later when you get to Arlong.
Yeah.
But her initial shit sucks. And Buggy sucks like a lot. Really a lot.
I'm not gonna defend Orangetown. Probably won't happen. So let's just all shit on Orangetown.
I will defend one tiny aspect. That fucking dog is cool. I like that dog and the way that he defends his little house. But
my girlfriend really likes that dog, so I can't say anything bad.
He's a better character than Luffy at this point.
Also, Zoro lifting that giant cage while he has like a knife wound in his stomach. Like
I am always super mad about that because Luffy is made of fucking rubber. There's no way they can't just pull him out of that damn cage.
Dude, it's even worse in the anime. If you watch the anime, those gaps in the bars are
enormous.
Luffy size. Like
yes.
Well, so that's actually a funny thing to bring up at this point because I don't know if this is true or if it was just someone slandering the shit out of Oda and because it was funny. But fuck, what was it? It was something about how he had submitted designs for like a Looney Tunes show or something. And I was like, this shit is just pirate, like, anime boy Looney Tunes at this point, is what it is. Everyone is super round and goofy, and it's like comical shit of
the
like
scene in question is Luffy sitting in a cage while Buggy is pointing
a giant cannon.
at
Yeah.
like, it's the goofiest shit. The best is like
definitely is.
Like when I keep thinking about the anime because I watched it so many times, but like Zoro runs at the cannon and picks it up, and it looks way better. It looks way better in the manga because it's all like paneled like one to the next. But in the anime, he literally picks the cannon up and turns it around on them, and they're all just standing there like freaking out for a good 2 minutes. And I'm just like, dog, just move, like just get out of the way. Like,
3 steps to the left, you're good. Come on, man.
You gotta do it. Like, just move, dog. Like, it's not that bad.
It is. This whole thing is real bad. The only, I think, redeeming factor of this entire thing is I like, and a lot of this is the retroactive thing of like I have read to Arlong before, so I kind of know more about Nami as a character. But I like that moment when she's, like she's been bluffing about being totally willing to kill Luffy, and then as soon as like she has that chance, she's like using her bare hands to stop the burning wick or whatever the thing is that's gonna set off the cannon. Like I think that's an interesting moment.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, it really doesn't have the full weight until later.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Like, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No.
But the more I think about it, there's a lot of that in early One Piece, where nothing's contextualized until not much later, but later, maybe an arc, and then you think about it, and it's like, man, that kind of sheds a light on that, but it keeps happening, and it's just like one of those things where I don't enjoy an arc. I mean, trying to think of like a binge reader's like first time, like I don't enjoy an arc fully until I'm already done it. Like that seems a little weird to keep happening.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, I think the big thing for me is that like when I first started doing One Piece, I ignored it. Like I saw little bits and pieces of it, but I mostly ignored it until I started watching through basically the fights at the end of the Alabasta arc. And then I was like, whoa, this shit got real. I need to go back and check out all this
what
other stuff.
happened?
And that gave me the yeah, exactly. I would start reading it and I'd be like, what is going on at the beginning of this? This is just kind of lame. But I think that Oda is one of those writers that the more context he puts out in that world and builds upon, the better he gets at connecting everything and making everything stronger through those connections.
Yeah, but I don't even think I can deny at this point that it does take
too long.
Yeah,
too long, honestly.
Too long. Like Arlong Park is heat, like certified top shelf heat pack.
Yes.
But goddamn, does it take a minute to get there? And like, nobody should like Syrup Village. I can't even explain why I do, but like, it's. I mean, I could try, but like, I don't know. Like, Arlong is the certified best like East Blue arc, and it's the very end.
I'm not a big fan of Syrup Village or Usopp in general, but I will say this for you. I really like the villain of this arc, and I think this is one thing that Oda does a really good job, like a run of villains for me, and it's making people are enormous, massive, throbbing assholes that I am just dying to see get their faces punched in.
Yeah.
And the first of those is this douchebag, the butler.
I feel like Syrup Village on its own could be like its own like 12 season or 12 episode season of like a new anime. Like it feels like such a complete package. And I mean, if you disagree, like feel free, but this is just kind of my thing. Like it feels like its own story. It feels so disconnected from everything else that's going on in One Piece. Like they just show up, and like Usopp is established really early on as like his own person with his own goal and whatever and motivation, and even like behavior. And you just think he's like, for most of the arc, you just think he's like a piece of shit, like liar who just runs around town like screaming about pirates because he like wants a cheap thrill. And then you
even
find
until
out
like Arlong, he still kind of feels like that, you know? Because
but I mean,
he
even
really
in Syrup Village, like this is the first time that a character's not a character's contextualized in there, like on the spot in that arc. Like you meet Usopp, You think he's kind of a piece of shit. I mean, I feel like you always do. Like that's just gonna be it, because Usopp is like the self-insert kind of annoying, like coward guy. But you find out in his arc like why he runs around town screaming about pirates. It was to like help his spoilers, guys. It was like to help his
20-year-old manga.
Yeah, like his dying mother. Like it was to help her cling on to life. Like that maybe Yasop would be coming back at some point. Like that's what it was for, and he just never stopped doing it. And maybe like I don't know, some shit about that when I was a kid, man, that fucked me up. Like that really got me. And I guess like even now looking back on it, like I think it's like very simple. It's like dying mom storyline, sure, pretty easy to unpack, but like the fact that his mom dying and his dad leaving didn't make him like a Luffy, didn't make him some honorable, powerful guy. It made him like a little coward who retreated to like some childish shit because he didn't know like how else to like. And I'm definitely overanalyzing, but like that's the way I unpack that piece of like Usopp, and that's why I've always kind of fucked with him, because I feel like that's such a more realistic path for a character than like what happened with Luffy, where he like makes every wrong move and gets rewarded with a fucking sweet gum power and a literal Yonko for a mentor and the straw hat that Gold Roger wore. And I know he's the protagonist, but like all of that, you know what I mean?
Let's not overstate it though. Like on the one hand, yes, those are all accurate statements, but like the gum fruit in terms of like what fruit you could get is not that great.
I guess.
And Shanks fucked off and didn't do shit for him for like the last 20 years.
But he's like the driving force for Luffy, and like that, and Usopp doesn't have that. Like Yasop is not around. Like everyone in the village hates him, and like the only guiding force he has in his life are 3 kids that like worship him because they believe all the bullshit that he doesn't believe. Like and his relationship with, I mean, we could do this whole podcast on. To be honest, I fucking love Syrup Village, boys. Like,
so I don't hate Syrup Village. I don't hate it. This is the first one I think I didn't hate. I didn't love it. I don't hate it.
We take this.
But it's where a couple of like areas of fatigue started to set in for me for the first time. It wasn't like draining on me yet, but it's when I started noticing it. Is one, everybody in this beginning shit is like, oh, it's the legendary whatever the fuck, but actually he's not any good and he fucking sucks. Oh, it's
loses to a 12-year-old with a rubber body.
A rubber body that doesn't know how shit except punching. And then it was also the Disney backstory fatigue, where every party member, their mom had cancer and their girlfriend got shot in the face and tripped over a fence, and then their mom died, and then their house exploded, and then everybody hates them, and it's like
literally nobody in One Piece has a good life. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and sometimes that's okay, because in there's a similar fatigue thing in Demon Slayer, where every demon has some fucking sob story, but it's presented in a way where like, you're a demon because you have a fucking sob story. Like, that's the only reason you are one. And if you didn't, you wouldn't be one. Whereas in One Piece, it's just like, my life fucking sucks, and this kid aggravated me, so now I'm going to be his friend. Like, and again, there's more to it, I'm sure, that comes later. But none of it is presented very well in the beginning. Like, Usopp, or however you fuck you say his name, is okay for me. He's fine. Because, like, he's just a little asshole that just wants some glory, and okay. But, like, it gets really grating for me with Sanji. I like him a lot, actually. I think he's my second favorite character other than Zoro.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And his arc was actually pretty cool. But every time he talked about, like, I'm helping this dude because he ate his foot for me, I was like, all right, first of all, objectively, your story is not that bad compared to everybody else. And we're spending a lot of fucking time on it.
It's also a pretty pirate story.
It is. It's piratey. It's starving and we need some food. It like, it's just a thing with One Piece for me that progressively keeps happening. Is like everyone has a really shitty life, and they have to like one up each other. Like when you get to Chopper, right? Okay, his only friend, who is also his surrogate father figure, has cancer, and also everyone hates him, and also he gets murdered with cancer. Like it's like bingo of like every fucking. The only other thing that could have
It does
happened to
not
him
stop
is
either.
that his dog
Yeah,
could
no.
have also been killed. Like that's the only Disney thing that could have happened to Chopper that didn't happen.
Literally every single One Piece crew member, like all in the Straw Hats, has a comically tragic.
Yeah, and that's
backstory.
exactly how
Now,
I would say it. Is like
they're
it
all
becomes
done well.
comical after a while.
They're all done well, in my opinion. They are all executed fairly well, with one glaring exception in Zoro. Like,
Okay, I was gonna say Zoro is I cannot give you Zoro. I can give you like basically everyone else. I cannot give you Zoro.
Well, the thing
Zoro's
is
backstory.
this is
I
my
feel like we
problem
might
with
get more of
Zoro.
it soon, but
yeah, like in chapter fucking 970 or whatever.
oh yeah, no,
Shit.
I'm not saying that to redeem this. I'm just saying I think that there might be more to it.
And
soon.
it's frustrating for me because it like Zoro is literally like the power scaler's wet dream. Like he's got like no. I'm gonna get fucking harpooned for this, dude. He's got like no character outside of swole life and being strong. And that's even more like accentuated by how like lackluster his backstory is. I don't even think it's a full chapter. And Luffy gets like 50 pages. Nami gets an entire arc. So does Sanji. So does Usopp. So does Brook. Robin gets like 4. Frankie gets 2. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then like some of them even get other ones. Like Sanji has 2 whole arcs. That's all about him. Like,
it's true.
The first time I read Zoro's backstory, I thought that it was like slang for like she killed herself or something, and I was like, "Whoa, that's totally gonna come up." Is it she?
It's actually.
It didn't.
It actually kind of is.
That's fine, but they never make that clear to you at any point.
Yeah.
Like Zoro never finds out actually she killed herself. It's just she fucking fell.
Like I think that it's I think this I don't know. I've played with this a lot, and this might be like a meme cop out, but I think Rick and I have talked about this before, where I feel like this is a cultural thing, because I've heard a lot of people in Japan say that like this is actually like cultural, like a cultural nod to like suicide, and that like maybe she killed herself because of the shame of like being a woman that wanted to be like I don't know, but none of that is like conclusive enough in the story for me to be
it
like,
never comes back or it gets discussed.
And even if it is there, yeah, and even if it is that, like it is not presented in a way that makes that more interesting.
No, not at all.
It turns her from a really cool character that is way more badass than the literal embodiment of badassitude into, yeah, she killed herself because she's gonna have boobs one day and then she wouldn't be able to fight right.
Or
especially in One Piece, where literally one of the most powerful people in the world is a sword wielding woman.
But like even worse than that, which is inference, if you read the text, she just fell down the stairs and died.
Yeah. It's just,
so like
it's not
both
good.
answers kind of fucking blow, and they don't do a lot for Zoro as a character, which is why like he really hits that meathead itch for me, dude. He's really fucking badass, and later on he has some really good development.
Yeah.
Right now he is kind of fucking boring and lame, but he's also really badass.
Yeah, so like right now I found up until Arlong begins, I find everyone boring and lame. But it's redeemed by the fact that Zoro keeps doing fucking dope shit. Like there was nothing keeping me reading except for every time Zoro did some shit that he shouldn't have done.
Let me ask you about in Baratie, like the Sanji arc, like Zoro and Luffy's little moment. What do you think about that? What did you think, Zen? About when after Mihawk cuts him down like a fish.
Yeah, he gets fucked up super bad, and
he like has that little moment with Luffy about not losing and all that shit.
I liked it because it felt like the first time that Luffy acknowledged a crew member beyond like, I like you, come and do a thing with me, where they had like genuine respect that wasn't like Luffy's just a fucking infantile kid. It felt like it felt like a very mature moment from a character that I had just started to give up expecting that from.
Do you think it came a little too early?
I don't know, because I'm not on chapter 1058 or whatever the fuck they're at now, so I don't know objectively.
No, but
that's
what
like,
I'm asking is, like, do you think that there was enough and I guess this is like a leading question, because this might be how I'm not sure, and it's been years and years, and I can't decide how I feel about this moment, because it's really good, but at the same time, like, I don't know if they like interacted enough on a level deeper than like
the thing for me about this
I don't know.
Is that I don't see that there would. This is about the level of depth that I would want them to go to as the next step, because like these two are clearly have enough respect for each other after the whole fight with Morgan. Like I feel like they get that respect for each other by seeing the way that they handle those situations outside of combat, like when
Zoro sees what village. To be fair, they do back each other up a lot in that arc.
There is too, but I think it's mostly the moments like Luffy seeing Zoro decide to eat that little girl's shitty, nasty buns, because at least the implication that I got from that is like that he was doing it mainly because like this little girl made that shit for me. I'm gonna eat that. Like I know it goes against what I said I would do by sitting up here and not eating it all, but nah, that little girl made it. I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah.
And kind of Zoro gets a similar moment from seeing Luffy do the thing with Kobe and getting him out of that situation. And for me, that's enough to develop the foundation of the respect that I want for that moment. I think that they get each other and each other's ambition enough that they are kind of immediately on board with going to the wall for each other. That's enough for me.
The ambition thing is about where I would agree, because again, Luffy has like 7 brain cells by this point in the story. So I don't think that he like has this deep judge of Zoro's inner warm gooey center and any none of that shit. But I think that up to this point in the crew, they're the two that have the most similar ideal, and they both kind of understand more than everybody else what it means to go for something like that. Where like
they are more than anyone else willing to like just throw their lives on the line and just be like, nope, I'm betting it all.
Right, because again, everybody was telling Zoro, "What the fuck are you doing, you fucking idiot?" Except for Luffy, because Luffy's the only one that understood that like it may not be a deep connection with specifically Zoro himself, where like, oh my god, they stayed up late and they talked about girlfriends and shit in the tent, but like they I think that was a point where Luffy...
and their mosquito bite fetishes.
Right, exactly. Where Luffy could put himself in Zoro's position and react in the way that he would, and then that sort of let that situation come about.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really do like. Like like you said, everybody's freaking out and Luffy's just kind of standing there, because I think like you said it a little bit, like in his head, like that's exactly what he would do if he had the opportunity to literally run headfirst at his problem or his goal and fight it head on. Like if Gold Roger was standing right there and Luffy had to beat his ass to become the Pirate King, like you damn well know that Luffy would try it, and like he doesn't have that opportunity to do it that easily, in air quotes. But yeah, so I mean, I like that point, but it just feels like, Zoro runs up and gets washed like a bum, and he's the moment that sells. Like, hey, my bad. I won't ever do that again. Sorry.
The moment that sells the connection for me is when I think it's Johnny and Yosaku or something like that. Their names, the two bounty hunters.
Yeah, the two backup boys. Yeah.
Yeah, when they are, getting ready to run out there and try to help Zoro before the fight's over, and Luffy like grabs both of them and like forces them down and is like, no, you're gonna watch this. I get, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, very possible, but I get the sense that Luffy does want to go out there and help him, but he understands that is not what Zoro needs from him. Right. And despite his desire to not see his friend get hurt, he is forcing himself to watch, and do the thing that Zoro would want him to do in this situation.
Yeah, I don't think that's reading too far into it, because he literally tries to attack Mihawk as soon as the fight's over.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Like
literally, it's the first thing he does, is he jumps straight, tries to fight him.
Yeah, that's fair. But I like that about Luffy, that he he has that level of depth for me, and that's what I want from a character like him. Like I have nothing against the super basic shonen protagonist. I actually really like that trope.
I think at this point in the story, Sanji was my favorite Straw Hat, and for like, you know, a while he is him and Luffy probably, but so I think that as good as that moment is, I don't know if it outshines Sanji in that arc. I just think he's great in this arc. Like
Sanji's introduction is so good. I love him shit talking this like asshole marine.
Yeah, I mean through and through. I mean, like I don't even have to call out the bias, like the wasting food shit, the disrespect of the cook. Like it's all so good. Fuck, it hits me right there. So I
Hits you right in those Toriko cells.
Yeah, dude. I mean, his backstory is, in my opinion, probably the like least fucking insane. Like, because it's pretty grounded and like in universe and believable.
I mean, I don't have really a problem with any of the backstory, but
I don't either. But like, it just feels like it feels realistic that
this would happen in that
this
universe.
Would happen, and like that's what would happen, and it's very. He has a subtle, maybe not even there, except in my own mind, parallel with Luffy, where like this mentor figure that doesn't really fully respect them until they have to make a sacrifice kind of on the fly, reacts with them and like triggers a dream, you know. And like
I think the lack of respect is a part of what makes it work for me, because like that tells me that it's not just like, oh, I see that you, Sanji, are the chosen one, you'll be the greatest chef in the day, and I'm gonna sacrifice my leg for you because of that. It's the reverse. It's you're nothing right now, but damn it, you're a kid, and I'm not gonna like leave you here and fuck you over. I'm gonna do everything I possibly can to help you, just because you're a kid. And I like that seems to spur something in both, I think, him and Luffy to become something more. I like that about it. It keeps it from feeling chosen one-y to me. That's the big problem.
All that shit with Gin or Jin. What's his name? Gin?
Oh, that stuff's so good. Right? Yeah,
it's feeds
I think
him,
it's Gin.
Like
he feeds him, and then
that whole arc is all Sanji's fault. That's crazy, but still, god damn, like he still did that, and I love it.
Because my favorite part is, you know, that like if at the end of that fight, Don Krieg was like, I'm dying, but I'm also really hungry. Would you make me some? Sanji would just whip him up some food and give it to him as like a to-go box.
That's what happened. It's like that's like what started it. Like he fed Gin, and then Gin went back and got Don Krieg, and Don Krieg came in, and Sanji fucking fed him, and everybody was like, dude, what are you doing? He was like, man, I gotta be cooking for people. That's what I'm doing. And
I don't know if I just don't like Don Krieg's like power set. I guess power set is overstating it.
Don Krieg kind of
gadget set. Or if it's just that I just hate this asshole so much. But he is probably my least favorite of the opening bad guys, not counting like the Syrup Village ones.
He's just like
not
really
Syrup Village,
forgettable.
But Orange Town.
Like, I don't know. He's just kind of strong.
He's not strong though. He's just got a lot of gadgets.
Well, he's not strong, but like, again, he's another thing where it's like, holy shit, it's the terror of the blue water isles. It's this legend guy. Oh wait, never mind. Fucking blows.
I mean,
never mind. He fucking sucks.
Hold up. So Don Krieg does have a reputation, but he does show up to the Baratier, like getting his ass beat by the Grand Line. Like
exactly, yeah.
He didn't even make it. They didn't even make it far. Like that. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's stated that they didn't even make it very far before Mihawk pulled up and just destroyed all of them. Like they were literally last legs.
They were already getting wrecked to begin with, and then the worst thing happened, which is Mihawk shows up. And that's the one thing that I think does make sort of this stuff works. I think these early pirates, yeah, they're badasses in the East Blue, the weakest shit that there is. Like that's the least. Yeah. Yeah, they're the lamest ones out there. They're big fish in a tiny pond. That's what they end up being, and I like that. Like even Syrup Village guy, like he sort of to me strikes me as a little bit washed up, because he, you know, instead of trying to go and get treasure, he was like, nah, I'm going to spend 10 years on this dumb like roundabout plan to not have to do shit anymore.
I think Don Krieg's probably the most believable one, mostly because like he just came from getting his ass beat. Like I don't know if you eat a meal and you're just suddenly off your deathbed. Like I don't know.
Maybe
it's like somewhat believable that he kind of sucks compared to like the rest.
He also like he's not powerful in and of himself. He's got cool gadgets. And other than that, like I get the impression that he's just got a lot of ships. Like it's not necessarily that he was awesome because he had a lot of awesome super strong guys. He had a lot of dudes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, all those cool like I mean, I'm probably literally about to just quote Luffy, but like all those cool gadgets are neat until somebody, fucking breaks them, and then what do you have? Like,
I do love that moment where Don Krieg like pulls out his like cloak of spikes and thinks that Luffy won't hit him, and Luffy just decks the shit out of him.
Fuck you! I have 2 brain cells.
Yeah, that was the first moment I think in One Piece where I was like, "Hey, Luffy, you're all right, buddy." Like,
yeah, dude, it's so raw.
Like that's I think the most like that I get out of early One Piece is like, I don't like this. This shit's dumb, but that was fucking raw. What just happened? That was badass as fuck.
There's one where like Don Krieg has like the rocket launcher pointed at Luffy, and Luffy just runs up at him with the bazooka and just does the double-handed attack and just smacks Don Krieg right in the fucking tummy. And as he's going flying, you see that like Don Krieg had shot Luffy with the rocket launcher, and he's like,
doesn't he have like a
smoke, like fucked up or whatever?
Doesn't he have like a spear that Luffy basically beats because he hits it, he runs into it so many times that it breaks?
Yeah, he keeps punching the blade like it's like an exploding. I don't fucking know, dude. Don Krieg's powers are so dumb, or like
they are
gadgets or whatever. But it's like an exploding spear or something. I don't.
Yeah, it's a spear where the tip blows up. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And then Luffy just punches the tip like 4 times, and then it just shatters. And then Don Krieg is left with a giant metal lollipop.
Well, Sanji can smoke that.
Exactly.
In the 4-kid version. Anyway.
Also, I blame Sanji for getting me on cigarettes. Fuck that guy.
That's fair.
Probably.
He does make it look really cool, to be fair.
Fucking facts.
But I kind of want to go back to the Syrup Village thing, just because I want to talk about how much I fucking hate that butler. And it's not really for any of the really horrible things he does, like, implied to be kill Kaya's parents, or implied to be killing straight up killing Kaya. But specifically that moment where she's bought him brand new glasses and he looks at them and just instantly crushes them like an asshole. I hate him so much for that specific thing, and it makes no damn sense at all. But I just want him dead in that moment.
My girlfriend and I both hate him, like specifically because of the way that he pushes his glasses up.
With the palm of his hand like an asshole.
Yeah, like the very bottom. And I know why he does it. It's because he's wearing the claws or whatever. So like
that was so dumb.
So sure, that's fine, but when you're not wearing the claws, you look like a fucking asshole.
He looks like a fucking asshole wearing the claws because they're giant fucking katana cat claws.
Yeah. Which are not even so that like, I don't know, dude. But they're he did run on Luffy's arm, kick him.
That was
cool. Pretty sweet. So there's always a silver lining to these lame ass fucking villains in the beginning.
I think I would be less bothered if he was doing the like obviously giving you the finger thing, pushing his glasses up with the middle finger. Like that would be less troubling.
Dude, he can't even bend his fingers when he's like got the shits on because he'll cut his face. What a dope. Ugh,
get a better fucking weapon, bro.
Love Usopp though, goat.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get to the big enchilada.
Main shits.
The main course.
Arlong
Park. Now I want Zen to drive on this one.
All right, good call.
All right, so first off, holy shit, it's actually good, which was a huge relief for me at this point, because I was hitting the point where I was like, people keep telling me this is good. They also told me the other shit was good, so it's probably not gonna be good, but I'll get through it just so when I can go bitch about it on Twitter, people can't be like, you didn't read it. It was actually really good. And the first time that One Piece ever got any kind of emotional reaction out of me is when Nami is screaming at Luffy to get the fuck away and just leave me alone. I don't need your shit. And then the next page is her just turning around, crying, and asking him for help. And he puts the hat on her head, and it pans out to everyone was just already there. And Luffy was like, "We're just gonna go fuck his shit up," and that's exactly what happened.
Man, there's a moment later that is sort of similar to this that I really love.
So,
but
a thing with me about this is this scene actually didn't hit me full force until my second read through, or I guess I watched it the first time and then I read it. So like my first read through, but second experience of this arc. Is it because I guess I was so young that I never picked up on it. I never had the fucking brain capacity to pick up on this. But Luffy doesn't even know why she's crying.
Yes!
Like,
yes, that is my shit. I love that about it.
When Nojiko is like, "Hey, I'm going to literally vomit exposition on all of you. Gather around." Luffy's like, "Nah, I don't give a fuck." And he just walks away and like goes to nap or some shit like that. And Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, they all hear it. But Luffy doesn't. So when he pulls up on her and she's just crying, he has no idea why. He's just mad that she's crying in general. And like, even though he has no idea what she's done, what he's done, or anything that's happened, like she looks at him and is like, "Help me." And he's like, "Okay." Like, sure.
And all of her reactions up to this point have been like her repeatedly betraying him over and over again.
So and he's a simp, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
He is, but I think it goes back to like something that like, so a thing that they make more of a deal of later in the series is being able to hear the voice of all things, and that's a whole thing, and I'm not going to get super, but little moments like this are what sell that to me, because to me the thing that's really cool about Luffy is that he always seems to understand what people need and is ready to give it at this. Like,
as long as that involves punching things, yes, I agree.
Well, yes. Fortunately, in the One Piece world, a lot of things require punching as what people need. But
thank goodness.
That is so that Luffy has no idea why she's crying and does not give the ghost of a shit why. That does not matter at all to him. It's just the fact Arlong made her cry. I'm gonna go wreck his shit.
Have you watched that in the animes?
I most certainly have not.
I mean, it is Toei, but I would recommend it. It's very well done. Like the music and the voice acting and all of that shit it is extremely well done.
I recommend the original version, not the episode of East Blue version, because I don't mind parts of the episode of East Blue version. Like there's some stuff that cuts down a lot that was better.
Of Nami, like even that is not as good. It's the raw shit from like the original anime is
back when the character designs didn't suck.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, that moment and the whole walk to Arlong Park, and then Johnny and Yosaku were just sitting at the door, like all the townspeople are trying to break in, and they're like, "Nope, we're not gonna let you in. Like we're waiting for those guys." And like
you guys don't need to do this. Some real badasses are coming. It's cool. Don't worry.
And there's like this giant stone gate, and Luffy just fucking yeets that shit open. Like,
yes, I love him walking up on Arlong because he doesn't look angry. He doesn't look like super pissed off. He's just like, "Yo, I'm Luffy. You made my friend cry." Boom, right in the face.
Dude, my favorite is that he opens the door and he's like, "Which one of you is Arlong?" Like he doesn't even know. He has no idea.
None at all. And he's just like, "Okay, you? Okay, you're the guy who's shit I'm about to just ruin."
So, I mean, speaking of the episode of Nami or Blue or whatever, it's not a change that I would have made, but I do appreciate it. I still prefer the original, but what I do like, I think it's episode of Nami, is when he opens the door and he's like, "Which one of you is Arlong?" Like, Arlong's like, "That's me," and like Luffy just like literally teleports to like Arlong's location and just fucking punches him right in the face. Because I'm pretty sure in the manga he like walks up to him, right?
Oh yeah, like it's a walk. They have a little conversation. It's like, you're Arlong? Okay. Who are you? I'm Luffy.
So
I'm gonna be the Pirate King. Blah blah
I think
blah.
for pacing or something, they cut it short. They cut that whole interaction short. But he just like nothing, no bullshit. He just skips and just punches him right in the face, and it's like satisfying. It's so satisfying.
What do you think, Zen, of the other fights that go on in here? Because I think that all the characters really get good fights in this part.
Yeah, I don't really hate anybody's fight. Zoro was good. I got a little tired of the like, oh my god, he's still moving with those wounds, like every single time anyone said anything. But the fight was good, and I like that the fish people are like violently racist. I don't know why, but I really like that. I have no idea why, but I enjoyed it when especially in I guess is Usopp's. Would you call that a fight? I guess it was a fight technically.
An encounter.
Yeah, a skirmish. It counted.
It's not in the usual thing, but I do like that Usopp gets his balls in that moment. Like up till then he hadn't had anything like a real fight, and here he does do a little bit of putting it on the line and not wuss out and expect someone else to carry his weight.
I mean, sure, he runs like 2 full miles before he turns around to, but hey, like baby steps.
It counts.
Exactly.
I think all the fights were good, but I think my favorite part was trying to get Luffy out of the water.
Really? Okay.
Yes, because it wasn't something that like it was a legitimate issue that wasn't some shit that some super character could solve right away but couldn't for dumbass plot reasons. Like the mayor guy and Nami's sister legitimately needed to help to get it done.
They had to like hold his head out of the water.
Yeah, they had to stretch his head all the way out of the water so he could breathe and then he wouldn't drown.
So the last, I know I keep bringing up episode of Nami, but the last like 4 or 5 times I've experienced Arlong Park have been through like these like condensed like movie specials or whatever. Episode of Nami, I guess they needed, again, pacing and needed to like hurry it up. When Arlong is holding Luffy above his head to throw him into the water in like the stone or whatever, Sanji just jumps up and fucking kicks it and breaks the stone. And the entire part does not happen. So like when you said that in my head, I was like, what? I was like, that happened? Because like the last 5 times I've seen this arc, it has been that special. And like, I was like, wow, Sanji, that's a great idea, dude. Like, thank you. We did have a super guy who had the exact skill set we needed to get out of that scenario.
I had the opposite reaction because the thing that I always think of is the anime version of this, where it is drawn out as fuck. Like it takes forever to get Luffy out of that situation, and it just takes so long, and it drives me crazy. And I think about that every time. So when I read it, I'm always like, oh wait, this is actually paced pretty decent. A 30-chapter long ordeal to get Luffy out of the water so he can kick Arlong's ass.
God bless manga pacing. It's like Dragon Ball, where Gohan and Cell clash for like literally 4 or 5 episodes, but in the manga it's like 3 or 4 pages.
2 pages.
Yeah, and then it's over.
Well, like that was my thing. Is like I was like, Rick was like, I remember it being really long. Wow, that's crazy. I remember being really short, or as in, I don't remember it happening at all. I remember Sanji kicking the fucking rock. And
Zen is Goldilocks. It's just right.
Yeah, it's just right. Like, it happened, but not for too long.
I also really like Sanji's fight in this part. Like, him and the Karate Fish Man is really good. I like that, his final line, because Sanji gets a lot of good, like, post-fight one-liners, but I really like his... Your kicks are completely shit compared to the old man who was kicking the shit out of me before. So.
Dude, fucking, and what's great is, I mean, the whole like 700 chapters later meme, but like Sanji sucking underwater gets addressed later, like, and this is like the first time he really encounters this, because like his whole thing is like being a fist fighter basically. Like, I mean, with his feet, I guess, but like, and underwater, that's basically impossible. So he's like up against this dude that he literally has no chance to beat, and then he gets like his ribs crushed by like the deep pressure plunge or whatever, that suplex move or whatever, and he ends up just like forcing this fish man out of the water, and they get back on land, and he's like, okay, I'm actually just gonna kick this living shit out of you. And he's like, that's another thing from like the anime perspective that I do like in some of the specials, and I think even in the actual anime, like as soon as they get back up onto land, I think Sanji literally has the line like, okay, that's enough, like I'm gonna kick your ass. And just
because you would expect in a shonen anime him to, no, I'm gonna beat you in your own element just to show how badass I am. Nope, I'm back on land. I'm gonna kick the shit out of you now before we go back under that water.
Like, how does he get them out of the water? I don't remember.
He like blows into blows air into his gills, and that hurts him and gives just enough time to get up.
And they like go back to the top, and then he just gives him like the full course of kicks, and then fucking yeets him through the building, dude. Fuck, it's so good.
I also really love Luffy's final moment where Arlong just swings that gigantic ass, and Luffy does the like perfectly stop it with like 2 fingers thing, and Arlong can't move it at all. That is so badass to me.
Yeah. And then the big old like stomp kick, the axe.
That ruins the entire building, and
man.
Luffy like slowly rising up out of the rubble, asking Nami if she's gonna be his friend or not. That last part shouldn't work as well as it does for me, but it does every single time.
Yeah, it's like, this is the thing, like on its face, like without any of the arc or anything, like it's super goofy, and like it's like, hey, you're my pal, like it's like super, but it's so good, like it works with everything. Like he's not like, I did this for you, or like we're best friends, or like, join my crew now. He literally just stands up and he's like, we're buddies. Let's go home.
We need a translator's note here to explain why Nakama is an extremely deep word that has no English correlative to it, and like nothing else comes close to understanding the meaning of Nakama.
Do they leave that untranslated?
No, I don't think they
official?
Do. No, they surely not.
Because that shit is cringe, in my opinion.
It's so cringe. It's hilariously cringe.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of get it, because friend just doesn't seem to encompass what like they're going for in this moment. It just feels so like lame and limp in comparison to like what they're trying to convey, but it's the word, and you got to use the actual word.
Yeah.
Like, you do not need to do a keikaku means plan type thing.
I think it's like I think that ending is like a solid ending to a 10, like it's like an 8 out of 10 ending to a 10 out of 10 arc. Like I feel like everything leading up to the end of Arlong Park is much better than the actual end. Like the payoff is great, but I enjoy like the pain and suffering like way more than I actually do like because it feels like it kind of just ends with Luffy beating people up, and that's neat, and I really like all the fights. Because
although I do like that moment where she like steals everyone as she's on her way out.
Yeah, that is a good moment. Yeah, and I like that the rap is nice, but I always enjoy like the characters shit and like the backstories and like all of that twist and turn and stuff more than I do.
I also really like how we were like, yeah, we should let Zen drive this one, and I have for like 20 minutes straight.
Well, clearly you guys are a little bit more passionate about it than I am.
He's trying very hard to not like just be like, and then after Arlong, it sucks big dicks.
I mean that's for another episode.
Sort of like what I've talked about with you guys of like coming back to the first arc of JoJo after experiencing a lot of it and getting a lot more out of it from that for you guys. Like, I think that's definitely true of One Piece. You come back to this after you've gotten a lot further in, and it's just like a lot of it just hits you that much harder.
I liked part 1 right away.
I didn't like part 1 right away, but I liked it quickly in comparison. Because like once I started getting into for me it was like a mentality thing, because part 1 or like JoJo in general is just like weird and like wacky and like shit's kind of like dumb. Like
I feel like that's always a thing though. Is like it's like a mentality thing.
I might just not be able to get to that right mentality then, because like I think
it's like that with
part 1.
It's like that with everything. I feel like there are some series that like might be actually right up my alley that I will never actually enjoy because I can't get in the right. I can't approach it with like the appropriate mentality, I guess. Like I forget.
And everyone comes to stories to get something different out of them.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Like... And then some things like some stories could have everything you possibly could want, but you just can't get into them for some reason. Like that's me with Hunter x Hunter. Like on paper, I should love Hunter x Hunter, but I just can't bring myself.
Execution matters a lot. Like,
yeah.
You know, if the execution isn't the kind that you need, it doesn't matter. If you want, okay, don't come after Neo. Come after me with your Hunter x Hunter shit, because I will fight anyone any day. Every day, all day long. Hunter x Hunter sucks.
Yeah,
big bag of dicks.
I think it should be said that like even if Zen drops One Piece at wherever he is, like right after Drum Island or whatever, that I still think it's Jesus Christ. You really gave it your all. Holy fuck.
You did. Like and I appreciate that.
You read way more than I would have read on a series I was not enjoying, and I'm at least glad you got an arc out of it that you enjoyed.
I know he also liked the Chopper arc as well because it was Christmas.
Because it was Christmas themed, exactly. Yeah, I did like the Chopper arc as well because
we'll
Christmas
get you to
is
the
good.
Halloween arc too.
Yeah, everyone got really mad when I said I was going to read that. So apparently that shit sucks because people got really upset when I said I was going to read that shit.
A lot of people are dumb. It comes right on the heels of a super heavy arc, and it's much more lighthearted and fun. And so a lot of people are just like, nah, this is dumb. I don't like it. They're stupid buttheads.
Yeah, most One Piece fans are stupid buttheads. So.
That's actually true.
As I'm sure you're well aware.
If you never read anything else about One Piece, though, I do want to send you the chapters where Zoro has his fight in Alabasta, because I think you get a real kick out of that based on what you've said about what you've enjoyed of this so far.
Dude, there's a lot of bullshit before Alabasta. Holy fuck. I was rereading like some shit like chapters to like get prepped for this, and I like skipped over Drum Island and like because I've seen it a million times, and I was like leading up to Alabasta, and I was like, maybe this is why Zen doesn't like what's going on, because a lot of this shit kind of fucking blows. Like Baroque works, like that is all ass. Like
Baroque work is a bag of dicks. Yeah,
I
like Little Garden okay, but Baroque work sucks. I don't like a lot of the lead up in Alabasta, but I think the conclusion of Alabasta is amazing.
Yeah, once it kicks
isn't that
off,
where you stopped Zen? Is like towards the back end of Alabasta or something?
I am at like what is even the last thing that happened? I think they just got to the city proper.
Okay.
And they're like, uh-oh, everything sucks here. And she's like, I know, because this fucking asshole pirate guy really fucking sucks.
Like getting there somewhat. Mr. Prince pulls up, and then shit gets real.
Well, whenever we get around to episode 2 of One Piece, we'll go through Alabasta, and just that way you'll only have to read a little bit.
Be another fucking 4 months.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
Some soon, TM.
So do we want to give any like final thoughts on this first chunk of One Piece?
I mean, I'll go first. I fucking love One Piece. I give it a lot of bullshit because it's fun, and a bunch of brainlets read this series, and it's really fun to fuck with them. But I genuinely love this fucking manga. It is my second favorite thing of all time that has ever come out of Japan. That has been printed on a piece of paper and distributed in Shonen Jump. I fucking love this shit out of One Piece. Like I could talk about it. I love it so much. And the beginning is, in my opinion, it's a rocky road, but the highs are high and the lows are, somewhat low. They're not awful. I think anybody should try it, but it is a fucking commitment, and I don't usually recommend people reading it just because it's so long, and like I don't have that kind of time, so nobody's got that kind of time.
Meanwhile, my ass over here recommending it and Hajime
like
an asshole.
Like I mean, if the length is like the biggest thing that puts me off from recommending it. I think it must be a fucking sick series. Like, and I love it. I'm gonna just ramble. I'm just gonna gush because I fucking love One Piece. So somebody else go. Because holy Jesus.
Zen, do you want to go last, or do you want me to last?
I don't care. You take the pick. It was your pick this episode, so it's up to you.
All right, you go ahead and give your thoughts on these first couple arcs, and then bring us home.
Oh man, we're gonna be here for 45 minutes while you bring us home.
You're not wrong.
So
you guys can just go ahead and end the call at that point, and I'll just go on for a while.
Yeah, we'll just come back tomorrow while you're still going. So I will openly admit that I definitely went into One Piece expecting not to like it, because I had already tried it before and not really liked it. And, you know, there's of course the internet brain mob of like, you don't like One Piece? Like fucking, you know, same as Hunter x Hunter. Like, how fucking dare you sin against my forefathers by not liking this manga? I'm gonna, you know, we're gonna fucking start a civil war or whatever the fuck. So, you know, I went into it not thinking that it was gonna really be any good. And for a while, I was like, man, this shit is not any good. But it has these moments where, like, it felt like, I don't want to say he didn't know what he wanted to do, or didn't know what he was doing, because that seems too dismissive. But it felt like he just wasn't fleshing out stuff that could have been really, really great. Because I kept hitting these moments where I was like, that shit was fucking dope. Why did it suck so much getting here? And then after the really dope shit ended, it started sucking again. And I was like, well, this is annoying. And all of a sudden, that must have just been a fluke. And then, like, Luffy and Zoro have their, like, we're going to be the best moment after Mihawk dices Zoro. And I'm like, that was fucking cool. Why does it keep doing this? And I'm sure that later on, he probably gets better at making the in-between parts not awful. But this early One Piece is like, he hits these moments that are like fucking crazy, and I was like, that was awesome. Zoro's dope, Sanji's dope, holy shit, Nami's crying and Luffy's gonna fuck shit up, that's awesome. And then in the next chapter they're like, I'm laying on the boat deck and I want meat. Isn't meat funny that I've said a million times? I wish I had meat. And I'm like, this series sucks. So I don't know how I feel about it, because I would hate it a lot, and then all of a sudden I would hit a moment where all that hate was gone, and I was like, that was fucking awesome. And then the series would be like, yeah, I know this was awesome. Let's dwell on this fight for a minute. And I'm totally into it. And then the fight ends, and it's like, all right, we're going to go back to Bugs Bunny shit for like 35 chapters, and then we're going to do something really dope again. So I feel like if it probably gets better later on. And obviously that's a commitment, because later on for One Piece means that it's like 400 chapters in. But I actually think I would recommend trying it out. I don't think it's necessarily for me, but even as someone who didn't really like it that much, I could see why people liked it. And I feel like if you can get into it and East Blue like hits for you, and Arlong Park is just god tier for you, then you're probably going to read through the whole thing, all 1,000. So at least try the early ones, if you haven't. If you're one of the people like me who has managed to avoid the roving mob of One Piece lynchers that haven't forced you to read it yet, you should try it. I even just to find out.
Yeah, try it after Toriko, I think, probably.
After Toriko, after JoJo, after Dr. Stone, then try it. And you might like it. That's it. That's what I got.
I honestly largely agree with what you said. I mean, I think that really there's a lot of Oda finding his feet and figuring out how to do what he wants to do, I think, in this early stuff. And I think that he gets a little better with each arc consistently up until Arlong. And Arlong is where, for me, the first time he really hits and just nails what exactly he wants to do. And that's why, honestly, a lot of times if people, I don't really recommend people start at the beginning of One Piece. There are later arcs that I will recommend people try out just to see if they like that, because I think they are more representative of what One Piece is at its best than the early stuff. I think that like some of the later arcs, Oda gets really good at bringing in stuff from the beginning and tying all this stuff together and giving you a really good, like, well-made, just everything's tied in, everything's neat and tidy and perfect, and that hits super hard for me and what I want personally from. Yeah. So I of course recommend this. I and the reason that we're doing this. So, and I've been pushing on Zenhead to record this episode for freaking ever. So like, I'm really excited, and I'm genuinely very happy to hear that those are your thoughts about it, because I think that basically you have pushed through all of the stuff that you will feel that way about, and you right on the cusp of all the best stuff in One Piece for me. And so when we record those episodes, I'll be super excited to see your thoughts on that. But that is for a later time.
And now Rick has like audio confirmation that I'm not like an incognito One Piece hater. So
it does kind of feel that way sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I'm one guy on Twitter that is like not a complete asshole that is trying to defend One Piece, whereas all these other roving morons are just like,
I've taken up the torch on a couple occasions, but usually I stay fucking 100 feet away from that shit.
I was real mad. I did a Peace slander tweet today, and it got 0 traction from me, and I was just like, this is why I don't do this.
I did see that. I was like, yeah, I respect that effort that you're putting in.
Push that in the streets, for real.
You two go retweet that, and let's see if it hits. But yeah, like definitely highly recommend this. Go check it out. Absolutely. Read all of it. Read it every day. Read more of it. Let it be your Bible, because it deserves it. Maybe I'm going too far. But you want to tell us what we're doing next, Zen? Because I think we got something special coming up next.
Oh, that's right. I actually forgot about that. So I completely forgot about that.
As soon as he said, what's next? I was like, oh my god, yes, we're doing that. Wow.
Yeah, I completely forgot.
This was the hump we had to get over.
I'm gonna hold out on the big announcement yet, because I want to confirm it, because I haven't confirmed it yet.
Okay.
But the next series that we're gonna be doing is Naruto Part 1. I don't know how much of it you all want to do.
The Land of Waves.
I would say we should do right up through the conclusion of the Land of the Waves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's a good chunk.
Yeah, because Chunin exams is long as shit. So
we might not be. It might not just be the 3 of us. It's not gonna say any names.
You'll see, or maybe not. If we get rejected, you won't see, but you might see.
We got Masashi Kishimoto to be on our podcast.
Yes.
World-renowned author of Samurai 8.
And Boruto.
And it is so sad that he has gone like consistently downward. It seems like in his production.
We're gonna be talking about that premium shit.
Oh god, dude!
Land of Waves hits so hard.
I'm afraid to record the Land of the Waves episode because of how hard I shit on Naruto on a regular basis. I don't want people to hear how much I love that arc. Like,
no, we're literally all gonna be like drool.
I'm gonna be like itching my teeth when we're talking about that shit, dude. I love the Land of the Waves so much.
It's so fucking
good. It's so good. It's so freaking good.
And hopefully we have somebody else with us. We'll see about that.
Right. But before we go, you should make sure that you tell everyone to like and rate this video and subscribe and hit that little damn bell. And then follow us
do all
Twitter.
of those things that I absolutely would not have remembered to do had he not just said that.
Subscribe, share, follow, retweet.
Go follow Zenrotto. Go follow Reed Torrico, and then go at Rick H. Fox, and then go subscribe to my fucking podcast where I bitch about movies all day.
I don't make
also
any
read
content,
Dr. Stone.
Get me on.
Yes, do read Dr. Stone, because that is the shit.
Twitter. I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't have a podcast. I don't do any shit. I stream on Twitch.
That's not true. You have a YouTube channel for exactly one video. It's the only one you're ever gonna upload.
Probably.
Go follow Neo, because he deserves to have more attention to his badass tweets.
Facts. That's all I've got to plug.
Oh, and it's Neo's birthday. Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, me. Thank you, fellas.
Happy birthday. Have you awake at 1 o'clock in the morning talking about fucking One Piece.
What a good present. I have to wake up in 5.
I gotta go get woken up 6 times by a baby, so I think I'm gonna sign off, guys.
All right, fellas. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thanks,
we'll see you in the next episode where we talk about ninjas and shit.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you in 3 months.